July 12th, 2026. You know, where that prostitute, June 26, 26, in Dutch Valley Restaurant, yelled out, that's the one that the guys picked out to make fun of her so they could steal everything from me. The word picked out. They said in 18 and 19 in front of the police and the FBI that I was perfect for what was going on. That no one cared about me. Nobody calls, nobody checks on her. She's perfect. We could even kill her. We could take her. Nobody would know until it's too late. She's perfect. Nobody, we can even isolate her more alone that she could be dead or even gone if we took her, and they wouldn't know till it's too late. Nobody calls her. Nobody checks on her. She's perfect. We actually found somebody that nobody cares about in life. And we can do this to her, and we can get away with it. They picked me. Okay? Because they knew they could get away with it. So that's where that idiot out in Walmart Alliance, I got even with a person like her. I made her live through complete horror, like trying to pull this big scam. When I was just somebody they knew they could get away with victimizing. Okay? Where November 23rd, 25, Macy's downstairs in Summit Mall, girls are there yelling out, we needed someone to run a scam on to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was already connected to us. We asked him if we could do it to her. He said yes, if we made sure that he got everything during the divorce. I remember people walking around me in front of police and feds. Remember the deal with Dave? He used to get everything in the divorce. They announced they had a deal with Dave to do this. And they announced they had picked me out because they thought I was a person that nobody cared about in life. That no one called on me, nobody checked, nobody came seen. And they could isolate me alone more to the point they could kill me or take me. And nobody would know till I was gone. Till I was already gone. And they wouldn't know what happened. They picked me. Like the prostitute said, the one that the guys picked out, they call it be making fun of someone when they're hurting them. Making fun of them. So they could steal everything from me. In the beginning of the case, they said they were getting even with me for Katie. I hadn't talked to Katie in 6 years. 6 years. Only said hi to her walking by in the mall, like 2011. It's 2018. Had nothing to do with it. I told you about in 2003 where my sister Linda was out one day in like 2001 following her husband cheating on her with Katie. She wouldn't say anything, so we stayed out of it. Okay? And there's like 200-300 people in that church. So we just avoided the situation. There's more people to talk to. She really wasn't in our social group, so we just avoided it. You hate being polite when you can't say anything because your sister won't stand up for herself. And if she's willing to live in an open marriage knowing her husband's cheating, we stayed out of it and just acted dumb. But just avoid the situation. Yeah. And I told you about where Linda came up to me in November 2003. I was following them again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry, be careful. I'm like, great. Now how I'm going to get screamed at. I'm not even supposed to know they're cheating and it wasn't me. And how am I not going to rat out Tim and Katie and Linda following? And here that minister planned my death. He was so mad. He took my kid by that Sunday. Danny came home from church screaming crazy crap. I had stayed home because I had a headache. So did Josh. And you're not my mother. Da, 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 da. And it's like you're grunting. He screams a bunch of crazy crap. He runs out. Josh walks in the room. What on earth is wrong with Danny? I said, I don't know. Let's go over to his girlfriend Heather's. We go over there. And Joy, her mother, Joy Mendez, and her sister Brazoria was there. It said, well, Danny's been thinking about killing himself. I said, kill himself? He's 14. I said, why on earth would he kill himself? Well, that minister wants him to help destroy people in the church. And he said he'd rather kill himself before he'd destroy anyone. Well, that's my baby. We're driving up and down the streets looking for him. That minister's at that church. I said, I don't want him to know, Josh, Danny's acting out until I find out what on earth is going on. Stay here. I stepped through the church. He pins me by my face. Confess you were never sick. Well, that's ridiculous. I almost died from medical malpractice. And it took me 9 months to get well. I said, I really was sick before. You're a spoiled little brat nobody likes in this church. And you'll be lucky you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. Get off my property. You'll be lucky to see your kid again. Pushes me out, and I got a well in my face. I told Josh, just like, I said, take me up to Dad. He didn't always have these big jobs. His second job was at Pizza Hut, delivery driver. We go up there, and I'm telling him that he took Danny. He's saying crazy crap. He said, let me clock out and I'll go home. Well, I went home and I called my mom. She called over there, you better give Danny back. Won't give him back when we're done. You can't just take someone's kid. And she's screaming at him. And she's like, I'll never go to your church again. You can't just be grabbing people's kids. Dave came home. I said, where's Danny? He said he'd give him back when you're done. And you're never allowed to go to church again. I said, why? He said, you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. I'm not the one that was acting like Satan. Screamed like a damn fool, ran out. Michelle Keggy next door comes over, Karen, what on earth is going on? And Josh and I walk over there. We sit on the front porch. We're crying. And Jerry walks out, and her husband, and he said, I'd rip that door off that church and get my kid back. My mom called me. I walk off. Dave comes home again, and I said, where's Danny? He'll give him back when he's done, and you're never to go to a church again. And I'm like, why? He said, you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. Well, I got Danny back that night. He was shaking like he had cerebral palsy. I'm sorry, Mom, you lied. The next morning, I hear the car start up. I look out, it's Danny. He's 14. I run out, and there used to be big trees in the middle of Lenox, and he's aiming for one. And I'm running down the street after him. And he fell over this way. Not forward, not back, sideways. And by the grace of God, it missed everything and rolled to the stop. I got down there. I pushed him over, got him home. Josh helped me carry him in. I had to go to the bathroom. Went to the bathroom, tried to grab something to drink. I had the dirt bike start. There used to be a telephone pole at the end of Lenox where they drop gravel. And he's racing towards it, and I'm running out screaming. And he looks back, and he falls over sideways again. Those people started nailing my mom's tires and sharp objects, and this is November 2003, before Christmas. She's in Illinois and has not come back. I ended up taking my kids to my sister's. I tried to. Went down there. Josh is freaking out. I'm not staying here with these people. He said, I got the keys, you get in the car, I'll leave you here with no vehicle. And he's 16, I'm not going to let him drive home by himself. And he said, I mean it, I'll leave you here. I come back. I ended up taking Danny to the crisis center. And he told him that Strange took him that day. Wouldn't let him leave. Starved him all day. Screamed at him on the pulpit until he passed out. And he didn't remember half the day. And that's why he tried to kill himself twice. He told Georgine Vovuso and Linda, and a Stark County psychiatrist for the Stark County Child and Adolescent Center, the social workers, the same thing. And he was in counseling for 2 years. He became bulimic. He almost had to be hospitalized. He was almost 6 foot tall, and he got down to 118 pounds. Our insurance eventually ran out, and I had to go out and get a full-time job with insurance and to pay for his counseling, his medication. And my wonderful neighbors and co-workers helped me watch my kids, and a lot of times I watched them for free so I could afford to pay to take care of him. He was in counseling 3 times a week without the psychiatrist and then tutors for school. It was horrible. And Georgine Vovuso, the Stark County social worker for the Child and Adolescent Center, she said she called Dave, asked him what his participation was in that minister assaulting me and pushing Danny to suicide. He said he wouldn't talk to him without a lawyer. They backed way off. She said, oh, we'll put it this way. One more thing happens to Danny or your wife, I'll put you in jail myself. And they backed way off. They probably would have killed me back then. In 2010, I was working at Walmart midnights. And everything was fine. And I met Terry Culverley. She invited me down to play locks. And at first it was fine. Danny and Jen started coming, her mom, other people. And then rumors start going around, okay? And crazy rumors. Well, I went over and talked to Francis Cowgill on Ava Street. I said, Francis, go for a walk with me. I said, why are these people making up rumors? Now, we're like 2011. I haven't had anything to do with that church in 8 years. She said, Mary hates you. I said, why would Mary hate me? I've not talked to her or seen her in 8 years. She started smiling like the Grinch that stole Christmas. She said, is that what's going on? And I said, what's going on? You don't know? No, what? Never mind, and left. Here she's lying on somebody she hadn't seen in 8 years. Well, I asked Dave if I could go over to that church with him. I thought somebody come up and ask where, I could ask him where these lies are coming from. And, they would come up and say something. They didn't. That place gave me nightmares. I didn't go back. I went twice in 2011. Now, I have nothing to do with these people. Dave came home from church one night, and he beat me and sexually assaulted me until I was bloody. Kept screaming, "You'll keep your filthy mouth shut." And when I finally broke free and I got cleaned up, I had rivers of tears. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you'll learn to keep your filthy mouth shut. I said, filthy mouth shut? I said, Danny just left with the kids an hour ago. I've been waiting for you to get home. He looked like he was going to puke. He quit his church. We were about 2011, 2012. We go into Macy's in Belden. I said, Dave, are you... And people were making up rumors he's going out with Katie and all this crazy stuff. She dates Tim. She's dated Tim since 2001. So it's ridiculous. And I said, Dave, are you cheating on me with that girl? He said, Karen, I'd rather kiss a cow's butt than that fat, ugly heifer. Well, I laughed at his mean joke. We're in the back of Macy's. Can she hear us down the mall? No. He said, I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, she's pathetic. Making up stories that a married man would leave his wife for her. As if. She's nothing but pathetic, Karen. Making up stories for people's attention to feel sorry for her. She's nothing but pathetic. Okay? That's 2011, 2012. The case started in 2018. Would she ever know what he said? He's not even supposed to be going to that church. He's not supposed to have anything to do with him. He's going to church with me at Pamers. So he's not supposed to have anything to do with him. How would she know unless he told her? He said a mean joke and I dared laugh. I giggled. Ooh. It was his mean joke. I had nothing to do with her. And after that, we would walk on the other side of the kiosk. Or if we couldn't get to the other side of the mall, we made sure we didn't say a word when we walked by her mall, her store in the mall. So they couldn't say we were ever saying anything outside her store. We had nothing to do with her. No phone number, no contact. We didn't go to church. She's not in our social group. We had our own lives. So in the beginning of the case, where when I called the FBI, she was telling Sarah, her old manager and her old co-worker, that it was her church trying to kill me. They had men to kill me, to do away with me once and for all, and teach me a lesson I'd never forget. For what? I had nothing to do with her. For what? I mean, before 2011, if we seen her in the mall, out in the hallway, if she said hi, we would have just went hi. And we avoided her like the plague already because she cheated with my sister's husband. And then we really avoided her after she made up lies about her and Dave. We had nothing to do with this girl. I found out she told people that I threatened her. I never threatened her. It was never mean to her either. It was a flat out lie. Now, when you realize that prostitute is her family member, Dave's dating her cousin. Cheating on me with her cousin. And we're November 23rd, 25. Her ex-husband was already connected to us. We needed someone to run a scam on so we could extort money from the government. We asked him if we could do it to her, and he said yes, if they made sure he got everything in the divorce. That prostitute works for a drug lord that wanted to run a con on the government. And people today were talking, that prostitute that agent dates. It's one of her family, that girl's family member. And people were saying that Katie's family was having it done to me. For what? So that they could steal from the government. I was up in Summit Mall, and some of the drug cartel girls, where that other Michelle that was dating another agent told on all of them for their scams. And said, boy, they were talking, boy, did that one girl tell on them for what they're doing. I said, well, it's just Katie's family trying to steal everything for themselves. I taped Dave several times. So did the police and the FBI. That Katie was leaving the threats in the mall, of those threats that I told you. I had nothing to do with it. Not even talked to her in years. Someone you have nothing to do with lying their ass off. People you don't talk to, don't have anything to, but they thought you were an easy mark. nice person stays by themselves, know they'd risk their life to save their family, and has nothing to do with them. And they wouldn't know who did it. Now think how sick this is. And you know, that's where that prostitute on June 26, 26 was laughing in Dutch Valley restaurant. That's the one that guys picked out to make fun of, because they call it making fun of people when they harm them. So they could steal everything from me. The drug dealers we hired to do this to her taped her washing herself in the shower and photoshopped that in the other room. To make her look weird with herself. They were making fun of her. Ha! And it's my family doing all this to steal from me. I heard that's a real winner that Agent John's dating. One of Katie's family members. Now, think about this. They already announced to the FBI in 1819 I was a perfect person for them to pick out, because nobody called and checked on me, nobody came see me, and they could isolate me alone, and to the point that they could kill me or take me, and nobody would know until it's too late. They picked me out because I was an easy mark. Not that I did anything wrong. I was just the one. They already announced it. About a month or two ago, down in Dutch Valley Restaurant, girls were talking. We got it out of Katie that she never threatened her. Was never mean to her. She was getting even with her because when she attended that church, she wouldn't give her the time of day. We found out it was 23 years ago and 15 when the case started. Then we found out she was avoiding her because she was cheating with her husband, or with her sister's husband. Sorry, her sister's husband. And her sister wasn't saying anything to her husband about cheating with her. Since her sister wouldn't stand up for herself, they just avoided the situation and avoided her. Nobody blames her. And she said she was getting even with her because she thought she was acting too good for her because she wouldn't stay and talk to her. There was like 200 or 300 people in that church. She wasn't in my social group. And she's cheating with my brother-in-law. My sister won't stand up for herself. So we avoided the situation like everybody said. Nobody blamed her for avoiding them. Well, that lying family, where Mary always complained about her extended family being messed up in drugs. Her prostitute family member that already confessed September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning. I guess she was sitting around and made some of the drug dealers mad, laughing how they got away with this. He brought her down for a full confession. Said the guys running it said no one's to say a word to her in her life. That they found out this whole thing was your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know. She don't even know who you are, and you have her raped and tortured, her skull bashed in because you were in debt to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. I listened to her and her friend Matt talk January 13th, 23, that the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life for letting all those people be human trafficked, and it was your family letting them be human trafficked? Yes, your family even human trafficked people. To pay off those debts to drug dealers. Yes, I'm sorry. She sold children and she's sorry. And it's your family that incited her new husband's family to threaten his life to take his farm and everything. Yes, but I really wanted the farm. I like it. Katie's family wanted it for herself. So I had him terrorize Carl, beat a horse, poison a cat, and try to frame him. And terrorize us out of our home. And we have nothing to do with her. She just thinks she can rob and destroy anybody she wants. Said I listened to the cartel in August of 23. They said they had already confessed they photoshopped everything. Did you know that? Yeah, I knew that. They also confronted her ex-husband that if he knew it was all fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors that made her sick before, and they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years. Yeah, I knew that. When the case first started, the big drug dealers were walking around me. She'll learn not to take another man's money. She'll learn not to spend another man's money. Well, last week, about in between about 2:30 and 3, there was a guy outside my apartment. The drug lord found out, the one they call Henry Moffey, his daughter was laughing in a restaurant that they stole all the money for her. She was never to get a dime. That drug lord gave her to that agent to date so that she convinced him to throw out the case. That he'd set it up so it'd get thrown out and the drug dealers arrested would get released. And they could sue the government for tens of millions of dollars. Not for someone like her to get a dime. Well, apparently she's not learned her lesson not to steal from other people. I was at a church with a client, and I don't think people realize how big of morons they look. This prostitute has put people up where she left, how she fooled everybody. Some idiot girls said the mind reader says he's wearing inside, you're wearing inside. I thought, ignore ignorance, sit down. Some guy comes out of nowhere. They won't say a word to her. She had enough courage to walk in here, and she's working. Those girls walked by a few minutes later. A guy said not to say a word to her. These people made everything up on her. And that girl that was laughing in a restaurant that they fooled everybody is a prostitute. And how she stole all the money, and she's a prostitute. While the Stark County sheriffs were talking, that they all know that Melissa's kids were taped saying they made everything up and they were lying for that girl to get the house that was laughing. Okay? And that's that agent's girlfriend that he's been bragging that he is stealing everything for her, and she's bragging that he has to pay her to date him. These people lie their asses off all the time. That's all they do is lie. I call them the Pinocchio group. Now, July 8th, 26, I am in Walmart Alliance. And this guy shows up, and they said it's the attorney's office that's behind it. That's messed up in the drug cartel. And they're bragging. I made her live through complete horror. A person like her, we taught her a lesson. For being your victim, you picked out that you thought was an easy mark. But he confessed it was him. And that people had showed up over the last few days. How stupid was that attorney's office admitting it? He was the one that put her through complete horror. Well, outside, some lady said, I feel bad about saying anything to her son. I asked him if they knew about the tapes before, and the tape of Weird with Yourself. He said he didn't know anything, and they said that girl's a prostitute that was laughing in a restaurant, that they photoshopped washing in the shower in the other room. Oh, honey, they confessed that years ago. Drugged me and told me to say it. made everything up on me. And the doctor from before is not one of mine, works with them, and they lied, and the whole thing is a scam. And that prostitute admitted that it was drug dealers they hired in her home before. No wonder her son didn't know anything. I wouldn't have said a word if I'd known it was drug dealers. Well, I'll go to the Stark County Courthouse, Witness Protection Program. Carrying around the house, September 23rd to October 5th of 2018. All caught under police surveillance with a court order. And said, Dan said that his dad said it was just some guy named Pete on his own that he hired. That Dave hired him on his own, him and his men. That girl said it was that prostitute had said it was drug dealers they hired, so that Pete's a drug dealer. I've never met him. These people admitted from the beginning of the case where he had bruises before, throwing up and infected. We were drugging you and telling you to say this. We were drugging you and telling you to say that. We photoshopped all our lies. To where they tried to pull a fast one. They had sodium pentothal reports. It came out August 4th, August 5th, August 7th. That they, August 31st, December 1st, they used hypnotic drugs. And told me, saying, you are sleepwalking with hypnotic drugs and the dangers of using them. They put, with less than a minute, you're like gone. You're walking around sleepwalking. You can walk, talk, drive a car, cook, eat, have sex. It's a perfect date rape drug. Leaves a metal taste in your mouth and makes you very sick when it wears off. And that's what they were using when they drugged me and told me to say it before. I thought the well water, they had me so drugged up there, I thought it was killing me. It was orange, it was chunky. It took us a couple months to get a water treatment system. We had to take a shower. We brought in bottled water to cook and drink. But you have to take a shower and wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. I thought it was killing me. Here it just had different types of iron in it and rust. When, like the doctor said, would do nothing, but if it would have been toxic, it would have been doing all those things. But it just had different types of iron and rust in it. It wouldn't do a thing. Here I'm blaming it. They have me so drugged up. I've never seen, never talked to anybody, never had anybody in my home. And it's a drug cartel scam where some drug lord had his people run a scam on the FBI to steal from them. And that attorney's office is messed up in it, victimizing people, thinking he can be a terrorist and put people through complete horror. Who the hell does he think he is? And it's Katie's family messed up in it, where her family was messed up in drugs. They're in debt to drug dealers. They're prostitutes messed up in the cartel. And they thought they could just buy an agent with a prostitute, get him to throw a case out, and so they could steal. I'll tell you what, I had put an offer up, that I'd sign a paper that I was willing to stay there while they got surveillance. I was know that I was in danger, impossible harm, and that I knowing the agency alone would pay me and would compensate me for injuries, and knowing my rights of the First Amendment, that agent does not have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet, and that he was only bullying me, and that agency alone would take care of it. Like people said, we wish they'd take our offer because it would take it out of fraud to a willing worker, because where they had him defraud me, it would take it out of fraud. Otherwise, those drug dealers are going to walk. And they got, what, $1,000 to $2,500 off my case? That's going to be $10 to $25 billion for the cartel. Who's going to pay for it? Everybody. Gas prices will be $5 to $10 a gallon. Sales prices will be 10 to 15% sales tax. The government will get it out of everybody. And where the FBI found 6,000 children last year, their captors will be released and they know where they're at. That's how not funny Katie's family is. lying on people they don't see, they don't talk to, they don't have anything to do with, so they can victimize them. And see, that's where my son John ran around, like they said in Magnolia. We found out they made everything up on her. We found out her son John was running around telling everybody she never hurt anyone. Nothing bad ever happened to him. Nobody could say anything bad about her. That's what he told the FBI too. July 26, 25, an agent showed up, he told him. They even went to the kids' pediatrician, Dr. Gray Haben. He was a pediatrician for 18 years. And he verified there was no abuse, no neglect, and very well taken care of. MD proof. No abuse. No neglect. And very well taken care of. Seen him, 3 or 4 times a year. Danny and Jen didn't know anything about the shower scene. Like the prostitute said, the drug dealers photoshopped washing in the shower in the other one. The drug dealers also drugged me up and told me to say horrible stuff. Apparently. I never seen her, never talked to them. These people admitted last year they were hiding behind doors, and as I walked by, they stabbed me real quick. Well, I kept thinking, and they kept saying, well, she didn't remember. And I thought, well, why wouldn't I remember being stabbed? And then I thought, there was bees in the house. We had big bees nest in the backwoods. Talked about Dave to get an exterminator. Because they kept getting in the house, I took a broom and swat them. I probably thought I got stung by a bee, and here I've got injected with those drugs. Sit down, take a drink in the room, went to San Black, come out, I got bruises on me, throwing up, infected. Going to the doctor with these injuries. And I'm blaming the well water. But like the doctor said, if it would have been toxic, it would have done it. And see, that's where John defended me, Josh defended me, Danny defended me, because it's nothing but a drug scam. And see, that's where these people run around lying. Oh, Will Dave her before? That's not what Dave said. Dave said it's just some guy named Pete he hired on his own, him and his men, and the prostitute said it was drug dealers. Like Officer Mark said, it was a drug cartel in her home before we seen him, and it's documented, verified she was framed before by them. You know, today, I worked last night. I came home. I put dinner in the crock pot, and Carl wanted to come down to his farm. And he keeps turning the air conditioning off. And it's hot. And I stayed up and I cleaned carpet yesterday. We did a bunch of laundry before I went to work. And I went to carry stuff out to the vehicle, and there's a guy across the street just yelled stuff at me. He's like, I know they tortured her. I go back in, and I was so grumpy, it was ridiculous. I already didn't feel good, had a headache, it was hot. I was already sweating because he keeps turning the air off on me. And grumpy. You know, these twits showed up because they're stalking me in my home. Even the prostitute said she's watching me. She don't have a right to watch me. Oh, she's mean. No, I'm grumpy. Everybody gets grumpy. And you don't have to be made fun of for being tortured. And they do it on purpose. And see, that's where that lady that was outside said, I found out from the Altman Stat Care physician in Louisville that he had said that everything on her medically before 2002 was wrote up as fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors, and those doctors almost killed her. Well, that's where July 8th, 26, inside Walmart, people were talking about it too. We all know those doctors from before were wrote up as fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors, and they almost killed her. See, that's what they told Officer Mark and the FBI in 18, that everything was documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. They were ripping me off, and gave me the wrong meds and almost killed me. And they encouraged us in 2002 to sue him for years. And when the FBI and police showed up, they told him in 18. I was in Altman emergency room December 31st, 23, and the nurses were talking about it. They said, no one will ever back the doctors from before. My God, they were lying so bad. They even said she had level 2 brain tumors and there was nothing wrong with her, but her muscles locked up. And they gave her a bunch of wrong meds and almost killed her. No one will back that. Doctors ripping people off, giving them the wrong meds with medication errors, making them sick. 2 guys walked by I Watch Her at night, and he said I'm assigned to her at night. He said all those doctors were lying before. He said yes. It was the medicine making her sick. None of this is funny. Where I took Carl on June 29th, 26 to Louisville Stat Care. That doctor walks out of the room, walks into another room, was talking to someone. I never noticed her legs are crooked. I looked it up. She does have degenerative joint disease. He said, and I looked up those doctors from before. No wonder they're all wrote up as fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. There's no excuse they didn't pull her off those medicine. They almost killed her. With her whole body swelling up, seizures, heart attack, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. No wonder other doctors thought she was dying. No wonder everything is wrote up as fraud. Well, they told the FBI and police that thing too. Those doctors almost killed me. And it was all wrote up as fraud. I was down at the Tuscarora Sheriff's. Somebody was there telling them that. And they had wrote them up as incompetent. That they were too dumb to realize her muscles locked up through every diagnosis that are in the world. Gave her the wrong meds and almost killed her. And they wrote it up as negligence. Better negligence than attempted murder. See, that's where investigators in 18, those doctors better thank God we didn't find out about all that fraud. Because if we would have found out about it, those doctors would still be in jail. See, I went into Altman Hospital last year, and they said that's the one the hospital made a lot of mistakes with. And they're glad that are grateful that she never reported them and never sued. They ought to be. The FBI shuts hospitals down for that. They shut several of them down in Cleveland. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.